This is what the Olympic gold medalist Carl Hester has to say on Team NAF.
My job in all of this, of course, is to be able to say to the experts, you know, this is what I feel the horse is doing, this is what I would like it to look like, what do you suggest? And I'm lucky to be able to have somebody that I can ask those questions to, because of course they are the experts, they're the people that I have to put my trust in, and the horses. You know, we want to ride on teams, we have to think of safe sport, we know that NAF leads the way in that. I have this really wonderful relationship that I feel is trustworthy, I can ask what I like, and at the end of the day it's how our horses look. And I mean, I think we could safely say that, you know, when you look at the type of horses we have and the covering of muscle and condition that they're in, that things are really working well for us.
Oh God, it's so exciting. Happy Hail Bob Day.
It is a happy Hail Bob Day.
Hello, the Curse of Durham.
It's the best finishing score we've seen at 5-star level.
That was our elo coming into the competition.
Eventing manager is back.
Best show that we have, Alphabetti Spaghetti.
Looking forward to seeing quality horses.
Still a great day for Ireland.
Thank you very much for coming on the show.
I mean, you're a bit of an eventing geek just like us.
And it's time to get on with the show. Welcome to the Ratings, a venting podcast and a cup of tea. We're very kindly supported by NAF. Now, today's guest is a young lady who we have had on the podcast a few times before. She is a 4-star winner. She made her 5-star debut at the back end of last year. Bubby Upton, welcome back.
Hi, Nicole. Thank you so much for having me. I always love coming on, so thank you very much for having me back.
It is our pleasure. It was obviously a very, very busy year in 2021. We're going to look back in just a second. First of all, cup of tea show. What are you drinking?
I'm actually drinking a smoothie because I'm heading to the gym after this, so there's nothing alcoholic yet.
No, well, a smoothie is very healthy. So okay, we've not had that answer before. Actually, I like it. I was going to make a cup of tea, and then I'll be honest, my calls ran over, and I was sort of running around like headless chicken, listeners, and I never got that far. So I'm drinkless, which is an absolute travesty for a cup of tea show. But anyway, let's go into the important stuff. So 2021. I mean, what a roller coaster of a year. You had an incredible win at Bicton in the under 25 long format 4-star. And I think it's probably a good place to start because it was a brilliant, brilliant performance with 2 horses, both inside the top 4. What was the feeling like coming out of Bicton? Because you were longlisted for your first senior championship as well.
Yeah, so Bicton was definitely a highlight of my season. It was a bit of a shock, to be honest with you, with that horse winning. It was a real mix. My head was kind of a bit scrambled that week, actually. And I remember very clearly when I arrived, I was in a conversation with Piggy, and she was saying, "Have you walked the course yet, Bubby?" I was saying, "No, I haven't yet." Why? And she said, "Oh God, it's, you know, they've got to be burley fit." And I was like, oh my God, I might have to actually switch Cannavaro into the 4-star short, because I've been very open and honest about him, you know, for a while now, that his fitness we questioned quite a lot. I never thought he would be a 4-star long horse, let alone a 5-star horse, let alone having to be burley fit. So when Piggy said that, I was like, oh my God. And then I have to admit, I was pretty not nervous in the sense that I didn't think he would do the jumps. I didn't worry about that. I was far more nervous about the hills, and which I think I was in a complete opposite boat to everyone else. I think everyone else was busy worrying about the combination, and then I was busy worrying about the terrain. And so for him to go round there like he did and to win it meant a lot to me. And to be honest, more than I could probably put into words, because it's been a real roller coaster with him. He's been almost in the shadows of other horses for a long time. When I was in juniors, he was in the shadows of Eros CHI when he went to the Europeans, and then again Cola when Cola went to the Europeans. So for him to have his day meant so much to me, because he's come so far I can't even describe, and I even came close to selling him. He was tried by a few people, so I nearly gave up on him, and then that day made me so grateful that he proved that proved me so wrong, to be honest, and he does time and time again. So I feel very happy that he proved me wrong, to be honest. So it was an amazing weekend, and obviously Kola performed incredibly as well, and the cross country round he gave me was one that I'll remember for a long time. He was pure class, and I think showed a lot of people what he's capable of. So it was a fantastic weekend.
And it was hard to believe that actually that was only your sort of second 4-star long format. Is that right? Because you'd done Burnham Market, you'd had both boys at Burnham Market the year before. They'd both gone really well there. But actually that was only your second long format 4-star. So, I mean, you've been at the sort of the top level as such for what feels like a long time. You're not very old still. Just remind listeners how old you are, because I find we're going to talk about this in a minute as well, because how you juggle everything you do is just extraordinary.
Yes, so I'm 22. So yeah, because I stepped up to Advance back in 2017, but I've with the Young Rider program, there was never quite the right time to step up Kola, who was the horse that was ready for the 4-star long level, because we definitely focused and decided to focus on young riders, and kind of with the aim to individually medal and team medal there. So yeah, never made the step up to 4-star long until last year. So yeah, still very inexperienced really at that level.
I mean, it was a decision that paid off, because he did take the individual silver and you took team golds at those Young Rider Europeans in Marsberg and back in 2019, which ended up being your last year in Young Riders then. So what about moving on from Bicton, because you obviously then get the news that you're longlisted for a senior championship. What was that feeling like? Because you've come up through the ponies, juniors, Young Riders, and an incredible honour, I imagine, to get that first listing.
Yeah, it was a real honour. When Dickie rang me, I was quite shocked, because it's pretty obvious to everyone how strong the Brits are at the moment, and to be amongst those kind of names was amazing. But for me, I'm a perfectionist, and I'm an absolute competitor. So the list isn't where I wanted it to end. I was really hungry to prove myself that I could, compete against the very best. Both horses did prove that at the Aston Walls kind of Olympic trial as such. So I was delighted that was recognised. Obviously, it was a huge honour, with it being only my first year out of Young Riders. So it was amazing. But, like I said, I was hungry to try and prove their worthiness, which was meant to happen at Berghem in the 4-star as my final kind of selection run. That didn't happen because I got COVID, and then I was like, that's fine, I'll reroute to Hartbury and give it my all there. And then that didn't quite go to plan either, with a bad accident before. So it was amazing. But yeah,
tell us about the accident, because that sort of put you out of competition for a number of weeks, and actually meant that nothing could have happened this year for that senior championship journey. But what happened? Because you have made, and I hope your recovery is still going really, really well, but it was a really nasty accident, and you've done incredibly well to get back to where you've got to.
Yeah, so I was just schooling a youngster at home and just had a freak rotational fall and landed kind of square on me, and I was knocked out for, they say, between 1 and 3 minutes. The nurses think, and I was really lucky that actually someone was coming up to the field that I was in as it was happening, which meant that someone was actually there, because I was schooling on my own. So I was really lucky, to be honest, and lucky that I was able to walk away from it, because I broke T6 to T9 in my back on both sides, so 8 parts of my back and my collarbone. And I remember when I woke up, when my first memory, I remember waking up and there being someone there who I didn't know who she was. And then I kind of faded out of consciousness again. And the next time I woke up, my parents were there. And I remember saying, I'm still going to Hartbury next week. I'm still going to Hartbury next week. And I was kind of in a bit of a mess, kind of shouting, but I couldn't really shout, and crying. And my mum said, don't be so stupid, obviously you're not. And I just screamed, and I said, I am. And she said, okay, you will. Obviously I was never gonna make it to Hartbury, but I was just so set, like I said, on giving it my all and trying my absolute best to kind of show everyone how special my horses are. And so I was really down for the next kind of few days, that mostly I'd let them down, my horses and my team, who had worked so hard to get me that far and to even provide me with the opportunity to prove myself against, you know, the likes of the Piggies and everyone like that. And so for me to have a full, although obviously, you know, I couldn't do anything about it, I felt really, really low that I had let them down. And I was told by the doctors, 12 weeks bedbound, no movement. And my face, and my heart, it literally sank. I remember it so clearly in hospital, and it makes me a little bit emotional talking about it. But I just remember saying to Mum, that's not happening. I've got a goal this year, and I'm gonna do a 5-star. So please, can you ring the specialists and you know, find a way around it? And that's when I got linked up with the Injured Jockeys Fund in Newmarket, and without them, I wouldn't have competed again that year, let alone 4 weeks later in an advance at Wellington, which was a bit nuts, to be honest, looking back at it. But I did it, and I achieved my goal of doing a 5-star that year. And yeah, I'm so grateful to everyone who made it happen, because it was a real team effort and looks like an impossible task for a long time.
I mean, 12 weeks bedbound to 4 weeks later after a full competing in advanced at Wellington is just, I mean, the turnaround from that is massive, and it shows a serious strength of character. Did you ever, I mean, I'm taking it, considering you thought you were going to Hartbury, even with a very broken back, but you never had any question that, you know, it never knocked your confidence in any way?
I definitely wasn't riding as well as I can at Wellington. I was quite honest about that I didn't do my horse justice at all that event. I was questioning decisions on the cross country, and I wasn't instinctive like I normally am, and so I definitely wasn't at my best at all. And so I just I actually made myself go back and jump the fence on the horse that I had the fall on at home after Wellington, because I thought that is what it's going to take for me to get over it. And I was very scared jumping it, I won't lie. And I thought, oh God, let's not have a repeat. Anyway, it was absolutely fine. And I think from that moment, I then put it right to the back of my head, and I haven't looked back since. But it did definitely knock a bit of my confidence at my first run back. But then I was lucky that I had 3 lovely rounds at Cornbury in the 3-star, which was really kind of fundamental to getting me back ready for Blenheim and Poe at the end of the year, because it showed that I was fit enough to do the duration, but also that it allowed me to really get back into my groove by doing 3 back-to-back.
It's obviously been something that will kind of shape going into this next year. I guess it makes you realise as well how much you want something, even though you know before you obviously really want something. When it's then sort of taken away from you, it really rams it home. Fitness is something, I mean, you're on your way to the gym after we've spoken. Has it changed your fitness program now? Has it made that more important to you?
Massively. I mean, I've always been a very sporty and active person. I've always worked out at least 3 times a week. And I remember walking into the Injured Jockeys Fund, and I say walking, kind of hobbling and sliding, and at about, 1 mile an hour, if that. I mean, I look back at the videos of me walking now, and I do think I do give myself a bit of a pat on the back and go, we did okay getting back to where I got. But they said to me, you're going to walk out this gym stronger than when you walked in. And I did think to them, I thought I was pretty strong before, I'm not going to lie. But I definitely am a lot stronger and a lot fitter now. And the kind of specialists there, they are absolutely incredible. And it's a real honour working with them. And I feel it's made me believe, that every cloud has a silver lining, because if it wasn't for my fall, I would have never found them and never been able to train with them. So, and I am a very positive and upbeat person, and that's what I take from it. It's made me focus a lot more on my fitness, and now I can kind of use a service that's kind of on my doorstep, which if I didn't have my fall, I wouldn't have been able to do. So I guess that's a big positive from what was not a positive accident.
And what about the build up to your first 5-star? in Po, because you had two horses very much fit, ready to go. They ran really well at Little Downham. It had been a goal of yours this year to go 5-star. Very much, I suppose, that part of the driving force behind a fast recovery to be able to make sure that you could get that preparation in for Po at the end of October and not wait until 2022. So how did it feel going into that first 5-star, having waited so long and dreamt of it for so long?
I just took it as any other event, to be honest. I know it sounds a bit cliche, but I really did. And I felt no different walking into the start box on my horse there as I did at a 4-star, but crossing the finish line was a completely different feeling and was quite surreal. But in the run-up, I really did just take it like a normal event. I was lucky, like you said, to have a really good preparation in the weeks coming up to it. I felt really confident. My horses were on great form. I was back to riding kind of at my normal standard. I was on form. So it felt just really exciting. And after what had happened that summer with the accident, I was just really excited and felt really fortunate to be there, as opposed to letting it, overwhelm me at all. So, and I also was quite distracted with university work as well, because I'd been back at university for a month in the preparation for it. So I was busy working as well as preparing. So it kind of kept me pretty level-headed. So there wasn't really any point where I thought, oh my God, this is my 5-star debut. And like I said, it wasn't really until I crossed the cross-country finish line that I thought, wow, I've just ridden around my first 5-star. It wasn't until then that it really clicked.
And gone clear inside the time.
Yeah, and gone clear inside the time.
I mean, that's pretty cool.
I think, to be honest, the way Cola took me around that course, I think it's going to take a few more 5-stars to make me realise that that's not how every 5-star feels, and that really was a round of my life. And I think I will look back on it for many years to come and remember it as one of the rounds of my life. But because he just made it feel so easy, I went through the finish and think, oh wow, this 5-star malarkey is fun. Whereas actually a lot of people like me, that's not that's not going to happen every time. So don't get used to that, Bubby. And I quickly realised that on my second horse, where I very much let him down. And the margin, because I realised, that the margins for error at that level, that they don't exist like they do at 4-star. At 4-star you can make a slight mistake but recover from it and still come away penalty free, whereas at 5-star you don't. And so I was quickly slapped back down to reality. But it was good for me. I have learned a lot this year in terms of coping with failure. So although it was very disappointing what happened with my second horse, Cannavaro, it's only going to shape me into, the athlete that I want to become in the future.
We'll talk a bit about their plans in 2022, because obviously everybody's eyes very much on what is coming up this year. But you mentioned there your university work. You have juggled a degree at Edinburgh University, and you're in your final year that you've sort of juggled alongside your eventing career for the last 3 years? You're in your third year? Or
I'm in my fourth year. Yeah.
So you're in your fourth year. You've done it for 3 years already. Part of that has been, COVID restrictions, everything else thrown into the mix as well. You've got a number of event horses. You're based near Newmarket and you're commuting to Edinburgh. How on earth do you make that work? Because that schedule is crazy.
Yeah, it is. And I do sometimes stop and just put my head in my hands and go, Bubby, why are you doing this? Like, why, when everything just tumbles on top of you and it feels so much, and I've got 4,000 word essay to write and 9 horses to ride, and I'm like, this is all too much. But for me, like I said earlier, I'm a very, very driven and determined person. So there's only one way, and that's to do both. And I'm not giving up on my university degree now. I'm actually currently sat on a first. So also being the competitive person I am, I want to keep that. And then I'm so lucky to have an amazing yard of horses. So I just see myself as very fortunate to love both. Yes, it's difficult. Yes, at times I massively question what I'm doing. Why am I doing both? because it would have been a hell of a lot easier just doing riding. But I truly believe that it will put me in amazing stead going into riding as a career, because I've learned so many, invaluable skills, like time management as one, how to operate when you're knackered. So I just make it work. And a lot of people, like you say, ask, how do you do it? But I just don't see another option. I have to make it work because I love both. So it just has to work.
I think that, to be honest, though, sometimes, if you believe in something enough, you can make it happen. And your degree is in, I want to say, business and sports management.
It's in sport management, yes. So very relevant and very useful. And I've learned so much that I can transfer into a career in riding, which I'm going professional in when I leave university. And the next 4 months or 5 months or so are going to be probably some of the toughest months that I'll ever encounter, with my dissertation and my finals, and also the run up to some very big plans, eventing wise. But like I said, I think all it's ever going to do is make me a stronger and hungrier person in the future.
And what does the next few months hold? Because an exciting team of horses, Cola and Cannavaro, both having stepped up to 5-star at the back end of last year. What does the spring hold? Is there a big B? A big B, Bubby?
There is a big B. There's a couple of big Bs, hopefully. So I'm, at the moment, plan A is just to take Cola to Badminton, and then Cannavaro to Lamoulan, and then Burley hopefully as well, with both Cola and Magic Roundabout. That will be his first 5-star. And then I've got quite a few other horses hopefully that could go to Poe, and I'm running, and then almost need a few more options, so we'll see. But yeah, the big B is definitely plan A, and I'm so excited to hopefully get there and give it a crack.
How does that fall with your final exams?
Yeah, so it's the week after my dissertation's due, and I haven't got any of my other dates yet, but so I'm just gonna have to get really, I have got really ahead on my dissertation, so everyone else is just starting theirs now, and I'm over halfway through mine, because I've just had to get ahead to ease the pressure off badminton kind of time period. So I'm very ahead of the game and hope that it will pay off.
Well, it certainly sounds that way. And also, I imagine there is also a benefit of going into badminton with that sort of level of everything going on, in so much as you would be so organised and you don't have the time to think about the fact that badminton is just around the corner. It is very much all systems go. All
systems go, as always. Yeah, I know. What am I going to do with myself when I leave university? I'm going to have...
You are going to have so much spare time. Next winter, Bubby, you are going to be sat back, relaxing, riding 9 horses for breakfast, and then looking around going, right, what do I do next?
I know.
It is very, very exciting times. Can I ask you about some more exciting times at your yard? Because you mentioned a few young horses and a few new horses coming in. Tell us a bit more about that, because you've got a really exciting new relationship with Cheddington Equestrian as well.
Yeah, it actually gives me goosebumps when you mention it, because it's just a real dream come true, to be honest. And I will never be able to express how grateful I am to Dr. Jeffrey and Kate Guy at Cheddington, and also Chris Burton, for providing me with this opportunity. It is a complete, like I say, dream come true, and something that I have to regularly pinch myself about, and cannot thank them enough for trusting me and believing in me. And I hope that I can do them and the whole team at Cheddington proud, and it's a real privilege to ride for them and to be able to ride their gorgeous horses.
And it gives real sort of strength and depth more strength and depth in your string as well, because I mean, Clever Louis, who has been, he was a Blenheim 9-year-old winner who's been second at Buccalo, and then also Jefferson 18, who stepped up to the 4-star level with Chris as well, massively talented. Must be pretty exciting as to what could be in store with them for the future.
Yeah, I feel so lucky every time I walk into the yard and see their see their faces and every time I get to ride them, and I'm just really enjoying getting to know them and, you know, chatting a lot to Chris and kind of taking his advice and asking as many questions as possible, because obviously he knows them a lot better than me, but I'm just really enjoying getting to know them at the moment, and having the opportunity to ride horses of their caliber is obviously what we dream of. So I am unbelievably excited to see what next year holds. I've got big plans for them, and yeah, can't wait to see how the relationship starts with both of them. And I've also really excitingly got the ride on Billy Liffey. So again, to have a horse of that experience and caliber in my stables is something that I feel really fortunate. And again, I'm really, really grateful to his owners for trusting me with him, and can't wait to see what next season holds with him as well.
Well, look, it is absolutely no doubt that you will be throwing yourself into it wholeheartedly, because one thing is clear, Bubby, that there is a real work ethic, a real desire, determination, passion for eventing and to do well. And listeners, I hope that you've sort of felt that a little bit on this show as well. Very much the ingredients for that team calling in the future. I have no doubt that it will come at some point. So Bubby, good luck this year, and we will look forward to following your journey.
Thank you so much, Nicole. Thank you.
It has been a pleasure. Listeners, we hope you've enjoyed this very special Cup of Tea show and we will be back very soon with more on the Ratings Eventing podcast. Thanks for listening. Thank you for listening to the Ratings Eventing podcast.
Have a wonderful day, everybody, and I look forward to having you back with us soon.
Don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram for more.
Listeners, we'll speak to you again soon.